Arsenal versus Atletico Madrid. Everything you need to know before the big night. The second leg is here, and the Emirates is ready to explode. Let us be honest with each other for a second. When was the last time you felt this kind of excitement as an Arsenal fan? When was the last time you sat down the night before a match and could not sleep because the stakes were just too high? When was the last time the whole world was watching us and we had a real chance to go to a Champions League final? That time is now. That moment is tomorrow night. Arsenal versus Atletico Madrid, the second leg of the Champions League semi-final, the Emirates Stadium, 9 p.m. kickoff. This is not just another game. This is the kind of game that players dream about when they are young. This is the kind of game that fans talk about for the rest of their lives. And right now, after a 1-1 draw in Madrid last week, we are perfectly placed to make history. So let us sit down together as a community, go through everything that is happening around this match, look at all the news, break it all down, and get ready for what could be one of the greatest nights in Arsenal's recent history. Welcome to Gooner TV. Let us get into it. What happened in the first leg and why it matters so much. Before we talk about tomorrow, we need to go back to Madrid last Wednesday. Arsenal travelled to the Metropolitano Stadium to face Atletico Madrid in the first leg. Anyone who knows anything about that stadium knows how hard it is to go there and get a result. The atmosphere is loud, the crowd is aggressive, and Simeone always sets his team up to be a nightmare to play against at home. And yet Arsenal did not lose. The game ended 1-1. Arsenal scored away from home, which is massive in a two-legged tie. That away goal does not count double anymore under the new UEFA rules, but what it does mean is that Arsenal came back with a draw instead of a defeat. It means we are level on aggregate. It means tomorrow night at the Emirates, everything is still to play for. Think about that. After going to one of the toughest stadiums in Europe, playing against one of the most experienced managers in world football, Arsenal came home with a draw. That is not a bad result. That is actually a very good result. Now the second leg is at home. Our stadium, our fans, our crowd, the numbers back us up too. According to the Champions League data ahead of this game, Arsenal have a 60.2% chance of winning tomorrow night. Atletico Madrid have just a 16.6% chance of winning. There is a 23.2% chance of a draw. So even before a ball is kicked, the statistics say this is our tie to win. But we all know football does not care about statistics when the game starts. The injury news that has changed everything now. Here is where things get really interesting for Arsenal fans. Going into this week, there were some serious worries about who would be available for Arteta. We had injury problems, key players were doubtful, people were asking questions about whether Arsenal could really compete at full strength. Then Mikel Arteta walked into the press conference and changed the mood completely. He confirmed that both Kai Havertz and Martin Odegaard are back and available for the Atletico Madrid game. Read that again. Havertz and Odegaard, both back. This is huge. These are not just any two players. These are two of the most important players in this Arsenal squad. Odegaard is our captain, our leader, the man who makes us tick in the middle of the pitch. Havertz is a player who has grown so much this season, a physical presence who works hard, scores important goals, and brings a different dimension to our attack. The fact that both of them are back is a massive lift for the whole squad. When your captain is available, the whole team feels better. When a player who has been working hard all season is fit and ready, you can feel that energy in training. Fabrizio Romano, one of the most trusted transfer and football journalists in the world, shared Arteta's exact words. The manager said, "Kai Havertz and Martin Odegaard are both back available for our game against Atletico." Simple, clear, and absolutely wonderful news for every single Arsenal supporter reading this. But here is the thing. It is not all good news on the injury front. Arsenal are still expected to be without 4 other players going into this match. So while we celebrate Havertz and Odegaard returning, we also need to be realistic that Arteta will not have a fully fit squad to choose from. 4 absences in a semi-final is not ideal. But with Odegaard and Havertz back, The squad looks a lot stronger than it did even a few days ago. Can Arsenal still win this without a completely full squad? What do you think, Gooners? Drop your thoughts in the comments. What is going on with Atletico Madrid? Now let us talk about the visitors. Atletico Madrid have made the trip to London, and the news coming out of their camp is a mix of confidence and some uncertainty. The biggest question mark is Julian Alvarez. Alvarez is one of Atletico's most dangerous and important players. He is a World Cup winner with Argentina, he has big game experience, and he is exactly the kind of player who can hurt you in a Champions League semi-final. The good news for Arsenal is that there are serious doubts about whether he will be able to start tomorrow night. Reports confirm that he did travel with the squad to London, so he has not been ruled out completely. But his fitness is uncertain, and there are real questions about whether Simeone will risk starting him or whether he will be used as an option from the bench. If Alvarez does not start, that is a significant blow for Atletico. You cannot just replace a player of his quality easily. It changes how Atletico will attack, how much threat they carry, and how Arsenal need to defend against them. So while Arsenal are welcoming players back, Atletico may be going into this game with doubts about one of their key men. That is a swing in momentum before the game has even started. The story about the hotel that everyone is talking about. Now this one is really interesting, and it tells you a lot about Diego Simeone as a manager and as a person. It has been reported that Atletico Madrid switched hotels ahead of this Arsenal clash. They changed the place they were staying in London. And the reason why tells you everything about how Simeone thinks. Atletico previously stayed at the same hotel during their 4-0 defeat earlier this season. They lost 4-0 at some point this season while staying at that same venue. And when Simeone found out the team was booked into the same place again, he ordered a change. The decision was made purely on superstition. Simeone did not want any link to that result. He did not want his players walking into the same building, sleeping in the same rooms, sitting in the same lobby, and having any mental connection to a game where they lost 4 goals. He wanted a fresh environment, a fresh energy, a fresh start. Now, some people might laugh at this. Changing hotels because of superstition? That sounds a bit much, right? But here is the thing. At the highest level of football, the mental side of the game is just as important as the tactical side. Simeone has been managing at elite level for over a decade. He has won La Liga titles, reached Champions League finals, and built one of the most resilient teams in European football. He did not get there by accident. When a manager as experienced as Simeone says the mental side matters this much, you have to respect it. He knows that confidence and belief can be the difference between winning and losing at this level. If switching hotels means his players walk into the game with a cleaner mindset, with no bad memories attached, then in his view, it is worth doing. It is not just tactics. At this level, it really is mindset. What do you think, though, Bella Gooner TV community? Is Simeone right to think this way, or is it just unnecessary worry? Let us know in the comments. What did Toni Kroos actually say, and why you need to be careful online, right? This is a really important section, and we need to address it properly. During the week, a post started going around on social media claiming that Toni Kroos had made a prediction about this semi-final. The post claimed Kroos said Atletico Madrid would reach the final and that Arsenal would come up short. It included quotes about Atletico having better attacking players, better midfielders, better pressing patterns, and more experience. Strong words. Words that got Arsenal fans talking. But here is what you need to know. At the very bottom of that post, in small text, it said one word: fiction. That is right. The entire Toni Kroos prediction was made up. It was not real. Toni Kroos did not say any of those things. It was a fictional post, probably made for entertainment or to get engagement online. And it spread because people did not read all the way to the bottom before sharing it. This happens a lot on social media now. People create realistic-looking posts with made-up quotes from famous figures, and because the format looks real, people share it without checking. Within hours, it can reach thousands of people who all believe it is genuine. The Toni Kroos prediction about Arsenal versus Atletico is not real. He did not say Arsenal would come up short. He did not say Atletico have better midfielders. None of that came from him. So if you saw that post and shared it thinking it was real, now you know the truth. And if someone tries to use those quotes to argue with you about this match, you can confidently tell them it was fictional content. This is why it is so important, especially in our community here at Gooner TV, to always check the source before believing something you see online. Always look for where the information came from. Always check if the person who posted it is a verified journalist or a reliable source. And always read the full post before you share it. There is already enough going on in football without fake quotes adding to the noise. Why Arsenal are in such a good position? Right now, let us zoom out and look at the bigger picture for a moment. Arsenal are in the Champions League semi-finals. Let that sink in. After years of not even qualifying for the Champions League, after all the difficult seasons, all the rebuilding under Arteta, all the patience required from the fan base, we are now 90 minutes away from a Champions League final. This is not something we should take for granted. And the position we are in right now is genuinely a strong one. We are at home. We drew 1-1 in Madrid. We have Odegaard and Havertz back. We have a crowd that will be absolutely electric behind us. We have a manager in Arteta who has built something real and sustainable at this club. Think about Arsenal's recent Champions League journey this season. In the quarterfinals, they beat Sporting CP across 2 legs. They won 1-0 away in the first leg, drew 0-0 at home in the second, and went through on aggregate. That was a solid professional performance from a team that knows how to handle big matches. Now we face Atletico in the semi-final, and the aggregate is level at 1-1. We are right in this. The win probability of 60.2% is not just a random number. It is based on form, squad quality, home advantage, and how both teams have performed throughout this competition. The data says Arsenal are favourites, and when you look at all the information together, that makes complete sense. The role of the Emirates crowd tomorrow night. Here is something that does not show up in any statistic but matters enormously. The Emirates crowd tomorrow night. There are moments in football when the atmosphere at a stadium becomes a real factor in the result. When the fans are truly behind their team, when every single person in that stadium is pushing in the same direction, it creates an energy that affects players on the pitch. It lifts the home team. It creates anxiety for the away team. Tomorrow night at the Emirates needs to be one of those nights. Arsenal fans have been through so much over the years. Difficult seasons, transfer windows that frustrated us, moments when it felt like things might never come together. And through all of it, the fans stayed. They came back. They believed. Now we are here. A Champions League semi-final second leg at home. Level on aggregate. Odegaard is back. Havertz is back. This is the night to give everything. To sing from the first minute to the last. To create an atmosphere that the players will carry with them for the rest of their careers. To make Atletico feel that every single person in that stadium is a weapon against them. Simeone is experienced enough to know what the Emirates can be like when it is fully switched on. That is probably part of why he changed hotels. He is trying to protect his players mentally, trying to make sure they arrive tomorrow night in the right headspace to handle that atmosphere. So the crowd has a job to do, and knowing Arsenal fans, they will do it. What Arteta needs to get right tactically. Mikel Arteta is a very detailed tactical manager. He thinks deeply about how his team sets up, how they press, how they transition, and how they defend against specific opponents. Atletico Madrid under Simeone are one of the most difficult teams in the world to break down. They are organized, they are physical, they are disciplined, and they can hit you quickly on the counterattack. Even when Atletico are not playing their best football, they are hard to beat. The key for Arsenal tomorrow is to be patient in possession, not to rush, not to try to force things that are not there. Atletico will sit deep. They will be compact, and they will want Arsenal to become frustrated and make mistakes. Arsenal need to stay calm, keep moving the ball, create space on the sides, and wait for the right moments to attack. With Odegaard back, that patience in possession becomes much more achievable. He is the kind of player who can slow the game down when needed and speed it up at the right moment. His ability to find pockets of space and play the right pass is exactly what Arsenal need against a team like Atletico. Defensively, Arsenal need to be ready for whatever Atletico throw at them, especially if Alvarez does end up starting or coming on. He is a player who can change a game in one moment, but Arteta has done this before. He has set up Arsenal to handle top-level opposition throughout this Champions League run. There is no reason to think he cannot do it again tomorrow. A look at the bigger picture of this Champions League semi-final stage. Arsenal are not the only team in the semis, of course. In the other semi-final, PSG are playing Bayern Munich. PSG won the first leg 5-4 in a crazy game at home, and now face Bayern at the Allianz Arena in the second leg. Bayern have a 57.1% chance of overturning that deficit, according to the data. So, depending on what happens in both semi-finals, Arsenal could end up facing either PSG or Bayern Munich in the final. PSG have had an incredible run. They knocked out Liverpool convincingly, winning both legs. Bayern came through after beating Real Madrid across two thrilling games that went down to the wire. Any of those opponents in a final would be an enormous challenge. But Arsenal have shown this season that they can compete with the very best. They did it against Sporting. They did it in Madrid against Atletico. They can do it again. But first, tomorrow night, one game at a time. Reasons to be confident as an Arsenal fan. Let us list out the reasons why Arsenal fans should be walking into tomorrow night with confidence. First, we are at home. The Emirates is one of the best atmospheres in European football when the stakes are high. Home advantage is real. Second, Odegaard and Havertz are back. Two massive players returning is a game-changing boost to the squad. Third, the statistics are in our favour. A 60.2% win probability is not small. That represents a real advantage. Fourth, Atletico have doubts about Julian Alvarez. If their key striker is not fit to start, their attack is significantly weakened. Fifth, the draw in Madrid was a great result. We showed we can handle their intensity at their ground. At ours, with our crowd, we can go one better. Sixth, Arteta has earned trust. He has built this team carefully, and they have responded all season. There is no reason to think they will not respond again tomorrow. Seventh, Simeone changing hotels is actually a sign of respect. When the opposing manager is worried enough to change his team's accommodation because of superstition, that tells you he is feeling the pressure too. Reasons to stay alert and not get too comfortable. Now balance is important, so let us also talk about why Arsenal cannot afford to be complacent. Atletico Madrid are not a team you can underestimate. They have been in this situation before. Simeone has managed in big knockout games more times than almost any other coach in the world. They know how to grind out results in hostile environments. Arsenal are still missing 4 players through injury. That limits Arteta's options and adds some pressure on the players who are available. The tie is still level. One goal for Atletico could change everything. Arsenal need to score and they need to not concede. It is that simple and that difficult at the same time. Atletico will come here with a plan. They will be organized, they will be physical, and they will be looking to frustrate Arsenal and hit them when they least expect it. This will not be an easy game just because we are at home. So yes, be confident, but stay sharp. Watch the game with your head as well as your heart. What this match means for Arteta's Arsenal project. Let us take a step back and think about what tomorrow night really represents. When Mikel Arteta came back to Arsenal as manager, he came to rebuild a club that had lost its way. He came with a clear vision, a clear style, and a belief that Arsenal could compete at the very highest level again. A lot of people doubted him in those early months. Results were not always good. The path forward was not always clear, but he stayed the course. He brought in the right players. He built a culture. He created a squad that believes in how they play and believes in each other. And now, here we are. Champions League semi-final. Second leg, At home, level on aggregate. Favorites to go through. This is what the project has been building towards. This is the validation of everything Arteta has done over the past few years. Win tomorrow night and Arsenal go to a Champions League final. That would be the biggest night in this club's recent history. That would be the moment where the Arteta project goes from promising to genuinely great. The players know what is at stake. The manager knows what is at stake. The fans know what is at stake. Final thoughts before kickoff. So here we are, Gooner TV family. Arsenal versus Atletico Madrid. Tomorrow night, the Emirates. Everything on the line. We have Odegaard back. We have Havertz back. We have home advantage. We have the statistics in our favor. We have a manager who has earned our trust and a squad that has grown all season long. Atletico are coming with doubts about Alvarez, a manager so worried about bad energy that he changed their hotel, and the knowledge that this is the hardest possible place to come and defend a tie. The fake Toni Kroos quotes that went around this week said Arsenal would come up short. Remember, those words were fiction. They were made up. But even if someone really had said that about us, this Arsenal team has spent the whole season proving people wrong. Tomorrow night is another chance to do exactly that. Get to the Emirates if you can. If you cannot, find a screen, find your fellow Gooners, and watch together. The atmosphere matters, inside and outside the stadium. Let the players feel the support from every corner. This community, Gooner TV, has followed this team through everything. The hard nights, the disappointing results, the moments when it felt like things might never click into place. We are still here. We are still together. And now we are on the edge of something special. So ask yourself this one final question before tomorrow night. When you look back on this season years from now, where do you want to say you were when Arsenal went to the Champions League final? Be there, be loud, be Gooners. Come on, Arsenal. Let us make history.